Prepare for something amazing on the Rizzler Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Rizzler Podcast. I'm Jacob, and this is my buddy Matthew.
Hello.
So we're here, another fantastic week. Gotta say, school's starting back up, MZ. How you feel about that?
Feeling pretty good.
Yes,
Doing all right.
sir. Dude, I have the most embarrassing story about school today. Um, so I accidentally, without knowing, went to class like a half an hour early because I had like a new schedule and everything, and just like the stuff was messed up, and I just thought it was a half an hour before it was. So I went because like usually we have like an app that shows us our class schedule, but the app isn't running, of course, the first week of school, so I had to handwrite them down. So I was like, okay, I think it's like trying to memorize my stuff. I'm like, okay, it's probably 2. So I barge in this classroom at 2, and it didn't start till 2:30, and like everybody sitting in there just like stops and stares at me, and I ran out as fast as I could, man. Coming
Yeah.
in early, yeah, but it was a wild experience, man. Love the school year, but man, like I will say like the we wanted to make this episode about the great outdoors, and that is the one thing I miss about going to school all the time is not having as much time to go hiking and everything. And that's also what sucks about winter is like, I can't camp as much, and I don't want to go outside now that it's like borderline snowing and cloudy, so it's kind of a wild time, but definitely we've had some
Yeah.
fun memories outside.
Yeah. And like the thing too, like right now, it's weird because like in December it doesn't really snow or get that cold. But now that we're in like January, it's like starting to rain, be cold. We've even gotten a bit of snow now. So it's like the weather's just gotten kind of to the bad stage, of winter. So windy too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's the wind really adds on because it'll be like not that cold, and then you walk outside and the wind makes it like super, super cold. So that's always interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah, always interesting when that happens. But I went camping last spring. Um, and it was a nice day. It was like maybe April-ish time frame, and it was a nice day outside. We were out in like a t-shirt during the day, and I was just vibing. It was fun. Well, then the night came, and dude, it got down to like 30 degrees at night. And I had not expected that. I had like um my warm weather sleeping bag and all that stuff out, and I was just not ready for like it to get down in the 30s. So I woke up just freezing. And it was a
Yeah.
really rough night's sleep, and then we woke up and there's frost all over the ground. And I was with 2 friends, and I was like, "Let's get out of here." Like, I was just freezing, not ready for that weather at all. We were, like, running to pick up the campsite and go over to the car and get some heat. So it was, like, one of those things I never wanted to be, like, be done so much after that, like, little cold front hit us during the camping time.
Yeah. I mean, not to downplay what you said or anything, but I'd actually make the argument I would much rather being freezing, like, sleeping than being outside in, like, 80 like, have, like, a even, like, a 70-degree night. I just I don't know, I'm just that way, like, because I don't know if Jacob, you've probably experienced it, but being in, like, a tent when it's hot out, like, during the day or something, it's just like a heater inside the tent, and it's just, like it just gets so humid. It's just it feels so uncomfortable. It's like being under a blanket in the sweltering heat in the sun, just beaming down on the roof of the tent, just absorbing the heat. It's just so uncomfortable. But yeah, no, it's not fun being in the cold either, obviously. But I was just thinking that like when you're mentioning the cold, I'm just like, hey, I'll take it over the heat though, because I've had some bad experiences with heat.
Yeah, that's interesting, and, um, we both actually had an experience at the heat because we did, our Rizzler camping vlog. And, it rained that whole time. We did a video on that. And then we did our we did our trip the very next year, about a year from then, just because we had so much fun. We didn't vlog that trip or record it at all, but man, that time was extremely, extremely hot. Like middle of summer, super, super hot. And I can remember the tent feeling exactly like you said, like just a heat trap. But I also remember like that trip because we were just kind of chilling. We weren't like trying to push our outdoor abilities or anything. So I remember like we decided to go get ice cream one of the days we were there. And my buddy Joey had his truck, and we all piled in, and we were gonna go like we were in the middle of nowhere, but there happened to be like a Dairy Queen, like little Dairy Queen open. And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, yes, like I haven't felt air conditioning in 2 days. It's been like high 80s outside and super humid. Like, yes, we're gonna go inside, eat ice cream, and feel air conditioning. So that didn't end up happening because my buddy Joey wanted to just eat ice cream in his truck. And I'm like, that's fine. Like we could eat in the truck and still have truck air conditioning. Well, no, because Joey wanted to eat in his truck with no AC on and just the windows down. So we did not get any taste of AC that whole time. Joey's always
The
keeping us
old,
on our feet with that stuff. But yeah,
yeah, the
that was funny.
old-fashioned way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was like I'm like, okay, the wind feels nice, but it's not like cold air. It's like hot air blowing at you in that time of the year. And then like we're just sitting in the parking lot on the blacktop feeling the sun beam at us from like the car through the car windows which are open eating. And like this didn't help at all. But yeah, that
Yeah,
was kind of wild. Dude, we went to a river. And my buddy Joey's a big fisher, so he took us to a river. You remember right after that we went to the river and he
yeah,
parks at like a ditch on the side of the road, like a little gravel pit on the side of the road. I'm like, what is this? It's like 2-lane farm road. And we go down there, and there's like a bridge and a small little like river going underneath it. And there's like two people randomly swimming, like middle of nowhere. There's cornfields all around. These two people are like sitting under the bridge just swimming, like having fun, swimsuits on, like a beach day, man. And it's like green water. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, wow."
yeah,
Like, I
and,
get
like, the
river
thing
swimming, but
and the thing too, like, what made it, like, really weird, not only was it, like, super isolated, what you said like you said, but, like, there was, like it was kinda trashy, and there was, like, graffiti on, like, the bridge. Like, it wasn't, like, an area where I would go in and be like, "Yeah, I feel like swimming here." And like you said, the water was, like, colored. It was just, like, kinda icky. Like, the whole, like, area, it's just kinda dirty.
oh, yeah, it was like that's the thing about it. It was not like a pleasing place to swim. It was, like, really bizarre, like, little, like, area. Like, you could go probably, like, 50 feet down left or right, and it's, like, feels nicer than under that, like, dirty bridge. And there's cars
Yeah.
going over you. I didn't really know what was going on, but I mean, it was nasty. But yeah, but that was an interesting leg of the trip also. And that particular trip, we went on a night hike. And our night hike was basically like creeped the hell out of me, by the way. But by night hike, we weren't in the woods. We were on a country road, just hiking a 2-lane or walking down like a 2-lane road. And it's just woods and farmland and all this stuff and cornfields. And we're just walking and we come across like a little area like by a cornfield where there's just a ton of like animal skeletons, like an insane amount to the point where someone must have like killed them and just dumped them. I don't know, but it was nuts. Do you remember that, MZ?
Yeah, I think there was, like if I remember, there was, like, 5, 6 animal, like, carcasses, or the bones, but, yeah, it was just, like, kinda strange. They must have, like you said, ditched them or something. Something went down there.
Yeah, it was wild, that's for sure. But yeah, something that was really interesting and really creepy to experience. And then as we're going on the hike, I mean, this was the same night too. It was actually an insane night. Like I felt like I was in a horror movie because like it's getting dark outside, it's nighttime, and we're just on
Yeah,
this random road.
there's no street lights, like, very well, there's, like, very few, like, it was, like, every, like I don't know how many yards, but it was like hundreds of yards. Like it was very like very little amount of light. Like when it's in the country, like, some like some people know, like it gets dark very quick compared to like the city or something. When you don't have street lights, it's just the darkness just overwhelms you. So yeah, it kind of adds to the atmosphere of it.
Yeah, it was like a horror movie because it also had the cornfields and all that stuff, and it was interesting. But anyways, there was this dude in a truck, this like old guy, and he drives by us. There's no cars on this road. Like we hadn't seen a single car. So this truck drives by us and we're like, okay, a truck. Well, we're still walking. The truck just like maybe 10 minutes later drives the other way by us. So like, okay, maybe he went to a friend's house and dropped something off and is going back. Well, then, like probably like 15 minutes later, the dude comes back and he's driving really like slows down when he gets up to us and he goes like, "Watch out for bears, kids," and then keeps driving. And that creeped me the hell out. I was like, "Yeah, we're done with this night hike. We got to get back." I don't know what's going on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it was just so weird, like, especially him, like, passing by multiple times. Dude kinda had, like, the sketchy look, like, I'm trying to think, kinda like a creepy lumberjack, I guess, like, I think he had, like, like a plaid shirt, had, just, like, normal, like, kind of probably farmer wear or something, but it's just, like, at that time of, like, day and, like, yeah, just kinda spooky.
Yeah, it was spooky for a minute, and I don't know. He could have had nothing like spooky to do with it. He could just be making trips in his truck back and forth somewhere. But it was creepy then. But I remember we saw a car come down again, and it looked like it could have been his truck. Plus, it was the only car we saw that whole hike, 'cause we're in the middle of nowhere. So we like run into the woods and just hide out for a minute. And then we let it pass by so he couldn't like see us, and then we got back to like trying to get back. So if that was his truck, because we didn't really see the car, we were trying to dodge it out. But if that happened to be his truck, that'd be really creepy, like fourth time passing us. Because I don't remember seeing him after like we hid. So it was interesting. We could have avoided
Yeah.
getting kidnapped, honestly.
Yeah, and, like, what was weird about too, I forgot to mention, was there was no bears in the area. It was not like it wasn't like he was actually, like, trying to warn us, like, it was just, like, a random comment, like, as if he was trying to, like, unsettle us or something. Yeah, so he wasn't doing it out of, like, actually warning us because there was no bears in the area. We were for sure confident about it. I don't know what there was, like, I think some, like, coyotes that, like, would be, like, the worst thing there, so but they weren't that common, so it wasn't that bad of an area, so yeah, it's just kinda weird why he said that. And then came back multiple times, like you said, it's just, like, so weird.
Yeah, that was definitely a bizarre thing that I still think of now. It sounds almost like surreal, but it's a true story. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like we were almost in, like a Mr. Nightmare video, like a horror story YouTube channel or something, like, we were, like, close to, like, being in one of those stories. If something like, he did one step further and, like,
Yeah.
stopped the car again and, like, came out with, like, an axe or something, like
Oh yeah, no, that's what I was, and that's the thing is my mind kind of went straight to something like that. Like for some reason, I love to think of like the worst outcomes of things. So like my mind went to like a movie, like a horror movie, and I was like, shoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an
I
interesting part.
Yeah, I remember, like I was a little bit freaked out, but I remember you were, like, extremely freaked out and, like, wanted to get out of there, and I didn't blame you, but, like yeah, I was, like I wasn't as creeped out as you, but I was, like, pretty creeped out, and we had, like, probably, like, what, 5 or 6 of us, so we had, like, a group, and I think that's what kinda kept me, like, checked out or checked in where I wasn't, like, totally checking out, but yeah, it was still, like, creepy and everything, but we knew, like, we could, like, gang up on him unless he had, like, a gun or something. But anyway, yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, I think the possibility of him having a gun creeped me out, but still, like it is a 6 to 1, which is I guess nice. But no,
Yeah.
I just remember on that particular trip in that particular place, what was really bad was But the animal that ended up being the worst were the raccoons. Those things are tough. We
Oh yeah, they're smart.
oh yeah, because we used to like when we went on the first trip with the vlog, we put our food in the car at night. But then we went again we went on when we went again the next year on that trip, we just kept the food out, but put heavy stuff on top of it. So I had like a cooler and it had like bread and just random stuff in it. And I put like a big pack of water that was unopened. It was like that Costco, like Sam's Club, that pack that you buy in bulks, heavy as hell. I'm like, they won't get into this. So put it on top of the cooler. It's unopened, so they'd have to tear through the opening, which I did not think they'd do. But sure enough, next morning we wake up and they tore through the water bottle, like the plastic on top of all the water bottles. They knocked the water bottles over all over the ground, and then they like dug into the cooler and got my bread and ate all the bread. So that really sucked. But I was just shocked. I didn't think they were like that capable, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the raccoons got us a few times that because we were like, oh, I'll put this, big heavy thing on top of it, and they always found a way around it to the point where we had to take stuff to the cars. Now I did camp there one time with just a group of people from school, and this was last year, and these people are like pretty outdoorsy, like they know their shit when it comes to camping. So they are like I mean, that trip we had hiked pretty far to our campsite, so we couldn't put stuff in cars. So like, okay, we're gonna tie our stuff up like on a tree so the raccoons can't get it. And a bunch of people who I was with were like, "What the hell are you talking about? Like that's not gonna do anything. We're just gonna waste effort tying it up there." And I was like, "Guys, you have no clue. Like those raccoons are here and they know our stuff's here. Like they're gonna come for it." So we like tied all our stuff up, and that's like the camping thing to do, like anywhere, I guess. But like half of my group was pretty foreign to that. So, and they were also confused, like, wait, are raccoons really that big of a deal? Can't we just store them wherever? And we were like, no, like, I was like, from experience, I know those animals can, like, they can get your shit. So, yeah, that was an
Yeah.
interesting, like, lesson slash, like, thing that we did on the trip the next time I went.
Yeah, raccoons have that, like, mask around their eyes for a reason. They don't wanna get caught. They don't want the security cameras catching them.
Facts that, man. Yeah, they're very smart animals and very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of fascinating, but also like annoying when you have to camp with them there because they also are really loud. Like they woke me up a few nights on that trip when we heard them going through our stuff. I should have gone out there and like stopped them, but I was just like, I don't know. It's a very like kind of violent sound almost. So you're like, I don't really want to go out there. It sounds scary, but like, you know, every once in a while we were like popping up and like shining our flashlights outside the tent trying to pinpoint like if they were on our camp or where they were. So yeah, that was definitely interesting to look out for. But that's the thing I love about camping is you just are exposed to different problems in life. Like you never have to worry
Different
about
problems.
your food getting eaten by raccoons when you're just at home on a normal day. Well,
Yeah, so
camping you
boring.
do. Yeah, it's like you kind of like come home with a newfound like gratitude for like how life is, that you feel like you got it easy just by walking home and turning a faucet on and not having to tie your food in a tree every night, like you feel like life is easy as pie when you get back. That's definitely like the fun part of camping is even if it's like a really tough time and a lot of work to get the site together, it's very interesting to just come back with like a new mindset because you've been worrying about different things than work and school and all that. So it's like, and your schedule's totally different for the few days you're out there. And it really is like, in my opinion, a way to hit the reset button on your head and just think about different things and focus on uh, different issues. But it's a good time. I like the, getting to work for work to build a fire and put some like actual physical work into stuff versus like sitting in front of a computer type of work, which I'm doing every day for school and work. But yeah, that's another thing that I enjoy, like using camping as a little bit of an escape for. But the other cool thing is, now this I found out on actually when we did our camping vlog for YouTube. We had that, so that was my first time camping. And I thought camping was like you are working the whole time, it's outdoorsy, yada 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 yada. Well, it's actually like slow going. Like you get there, set up camp, chill for a few hours by the fire, make food, chill for a few hours, go fishing, chill for a few hours, then figure out what to do from there. And it was like, I looked over to Joey because he had a lot of camping experience, and I said, man, like, I thought this would be like hard work every minute. And he's like, no, dude, like he told me this. Now, I'm not going to speak that this is true for all outdoorsmen, but he goes like, no, the cool part about camping is that you can just like sit around and relax all day and do nothing and call it a fun outdoor activity. He told that quote sticks with me. He said that, and I'm like, the way we're camping, I can see it. But yeah, but we've also been on trips where like we get up, hike, sleep, like backpacking trips. You're like hiking, camping, hiking. Like those are tough trips and a lot of work. But man, like the just go drive your car up to the campsite, set up, and sit there. Like those are. It's like a beach day. You're just sitting out in the sun all day by the campfire. So it's yeah, it is a relaxing time too. But yeah,
Yeah.
and that's my favorite thing too, is I love being able to like just sit by the fire with a group of friends and just talk and no speaker going. You're just listening to the crackling of the fire and nature. And it's a fun, like it is a fun little like time and bonding moment with people. So Matt, I heard you were a Boy Scout, weren't you?
I was a Cub Scout. I did do Boy Scout for 1 week. I went to the first meeting, and I was like, "This is not fun." Like, no offense to anyone who does Boy Scouts, like, obviously, it's, like, very honorable doing it, and I'm sure there's their fun moments, but, like, after doing Cub Scouts, to me, it was like a downgrade, um, personally, so I didn't continue it, but I did do Cub Scouts for, I think it's 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. It's like 1st to 5th grade, level, but yeah, it's like for anyone who doesn't know, Cub Scouts is just like a younger version of Boy Scouts, essentially. But yeah, I did do that. So I wouldn't ever consider myself like a super outdoorsy person, but I have done like, a lot of camping trips and whatnot. So like I have experience, but I wouldn't say like I'm like a survivalist kind of guy. But I like camping, fishing, doing all those like outdoor activities, making s'mores, hot dog cooking, stuff like that. Um, so I guess the one thing, like, kind of with Cub Scouts and going to like the camp was they'd have like different activities, which was cool. Like BB guns and archery was really fun. There was canoeing, stuff like that was like a nice add-on to what like traditional camping would be. So that was pretty fun.
That's sweet. I love the add-ons too. I used to go to like this little cabin place. We would go there for school and stay in like a big cabin building for a little bit, and then we would they had like canoeing, which was really fun. We did horseback riding. All that stuff's fun. Archery was cool too. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I had an activity in mind. We did a oh dude, we did this activity. They don't have this there anymore. But we basically reenacted like we had like an activity where we were pretending to be slaves on the Underground Railroad. And like us students were slaves trying to escape, and they had people like dressed up like olden times, and they had different cabins in the wood, and we went from like cabin to cabin, and they would like hide us and give us food and this and that, and like give us like just historical things on how it worked and information. So we were put into groups, and it was like five of us kids and one adult. And we're going house to house. Everything seems pretty chill so far. And then we run into a guy in the middle of the woods, like acting as a sheriff. And he's like mad as hell because like we're trying to escape slavery. Like that's how he was acting. And he looks at me, and this dude, I mean, I was like really young in grade school, and I was just scared shitless. Like this guy's like, he's holding a gun, and he's just like
Wait,
yelling at us.
dang.
Yeah, he had like a gun in his hand, and he's like screaming at us, da 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 da. And he's like, looks at me, and I still feel bad for this. And he goes, "Which one of you is the leader?" And he's like looking at me in my face. And I point to the parent who's like leading our group through like the whole like experience. And I said, "That
Yeah.
guy's the leader," because he was our group leader. Like it was true. But I feel
Yeah.
bad. Like I was young and, didn't really understand. I was just like trying to give him what he wanted. But I was like, "It's that guy." And he runs over and he goes like, "You." And then the guy goes like, "Okay, I'm gonna go get my dogs and be right back to take you guys in, or get my dogs in shackles or whatever and take you guys back." And he leaves. And just an important part of the activity to know, us kids at the time hadn't done this. So it was all impromptu by the kids. But the parent volunteer who we were with, like, had went through with like the people who were running it. They had like went through the whole program and what to do. So they were kind of guiding us through it. So basically, he leaves to get whatever, and the parent he just points at some direction and goes, "Run away!" And all of us like run following him, and we get behind like a stump and hide, like behind like a fallen tree type thing. And the dude's like, "Wait, where are you going?" And he goes, "That's it." And then we're like, "Wait, what's gonna happen? Why are we hiding? Where's he going?" And the parent volunteer looked at us and goes, "Oh, he's gonna shoot off his gun. It's part of the thing. He's gonna shoot it over our heads." And I was like, "Wait,
What?
wait a minute. You're telling me that he's gonna shoot a bullet like right over this stump to like be part of the like little play thing
What
that we're
the
in?" I
fuck?
was like, "What?" So he shoots the gun, but what he did was he only loaded it with like gunpowder, and he set
Yeah,
it
like
off at
blank.
the ground. So he way overhyped it. The parent was like, "Yeah, he's gonna shoot a bullet right over our heads." And no, it was just gunpowder
What?
at the ground, so it made like the loud boom noise and smoke and stuff. So, he
Yeah.
shoots the gun and we run from behind the stump to like the next part of the, railroad we were supposed to go to. But it was cool. They had like a mini town set up. And they had like a church, like a actual like wooden church that they built, and there was like a secret hideout in the deck underneath it, and they had like all this like cool hiding places for us. And it was a really cool, but it also really like taught us a lot about what it was like for people, because they would, like, the adults would explain, like, people who were going through the Underground Railroad would have to stay in a space this size for days or whatever. So it was a really like educational experience about that time period, but also really cool. But man, I'll never forget the gun part of that, when he was like, "He's gonna shoot it over our head," and we were all like, "What?" We were just little kids,
Yeah.
like, "What's going on?"
Uh, yeah, wow. That's, I did not get that kind of, learning experience at school. Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a really fun time, but yeah, it was really cool. But that was one of the activities we did. That camp really got me out of my comfort zone, because we also like that camp had a rope course, and it was pretty high up, and we were like strapped to like a harness and stuff, and it was like you just had to climb this structure, and it was like like there was a rock wall portion and like ropes you had to climb, and then like sketchy looking ladders you had to climb. But they had us harnessed up, and it was probably like 50 feet tall ish. So I wasn't a big fan. I was a little kid back then and wasn't a huge fan of heights. So you had to climb up to this thing and ring a bell. And if you didn't climb up, it was just for fun. They just like harnessed you back down. So, I climb up the first ladder, look down. I'm like terrified. I'm probably only 20 feet high at that point, but when I was young, I was really scared of that. And I'm like, I'm really scared of how high I am. But hey, the rock wall is like 2 feet above me. I can do that. So then I climb up the rock wall, and I'd be like, okay, I should give up now because this is way too high for me. Like, I look down, like, hell no. I'm like 40 feet up. And I look up and I'm like, oh, there's like a little like rope area. I'll just climb up the ropes. They're like right there. So I just climb up the ropes, and look down. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to, like, this is too high. I'm like 50 feet. And then I look up and I'm like, oh, I need to climb one more foot up this rope and I'm at the bell. So I kind of like a foot up, ring the bell, make it up the rope course. But the whole time I was like, whenever I look down, I'm like, I'll probably give up. And I look back up and I'm like, oh no, I'm really close to the top. So that was like a really, like, it was kind of funny, like my mind going through that. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. They had it at Cub Scouts too, and I was just yeah, I kinda solidified my fear of heights doing that. But, yeah.
Yeah, I
No, I'll
remember.
tell I'll
Oh
I'll
yeah,
tell
go
you,
ahead.
like yeah, I was gonna say, I think my favorite parts of, like, Cub Scouts, like, outdoor stuff was, definitely doing, like, the BB gun and the archery. Just, like, something about just, like, hitting a target is just, like, so much fun to me. The one thing I will say, though, about, like, BB guns that kinda, like, freaked me out a little bit and, like, other people was, like, that off chance that that, like, the BB would hit, like, a tin can or something, and it would ricochet back and, like, hit you. Because that's I've, like, witnessed that, like, happen to people who'll hit them, and then they get they, like, cuts them, bleeds a little bit. It's like, looking back now, it's probably not, like, as bad, but, like, still, like, the bleeding and stuff kinda freaked me out, so I always got a little nervous about that, but, like, other than that, it was just so fun, like, because as you're a kid, it feels like a real gun, even though it's not, but, like, shooting BBs and stuff was pretty fun.
That sounds like a blast. Did anyone shoot their eye out? Just curious.
No, we wear, safety goggles, I think, or, like,
Have
glasses.
Have you seen the movie A Christmas Story
Yeah.
with Ralphie? You'll shoot your eye out. Made me
Yeah.
think of that for a minute. No,
Yeah,
that
I know.
sounds fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
we unfortunately didn't get the BB part, but the camp I went to got like the archery, which was fun. Um,
Yeah.
I wasn't bad at it when we were as we went on. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember we had a oh, what else did oh dude, we went canoeing. And I had
Yeah.
never done like kayaking or canoeing before at this point. I was real little. And we're canoeing and I didn't realize like how much those boats can jerk around, especially when you're in the boat with a bunch of other like young kids that are just wobbling it all around. And I was actually scared to fall in, even though we had life vests on, because it was cold that day. And I'm like, dude, if we fall in, this water's gonna be freezing. Like, heck no. Like, nobody rock the boat that much. Like, this would be fine on a summer day, but when it's like
Yeah.
40 degrees outside and who knows how cold the water is, like, heck no. Yeah. Dude, I was hearing
Yeah.
about the whole like hype around ice baths, and I heard they are really good for you. The like, or I guess like the ice plunges that people do in the morning. I heard those are actually like, I mean, supposedly pretty beneficial. I just thought that was interesting because it's like been a big topic of conversation for a lot of people like lately. You heard of that stuff?
Yeah, it's, like, really popular with athletes and stuff. It's I would imagine very good at, like, waking you up and getting your body ready.
Oh yeah, I feel like you like could substitute a cup of coffee in the morning for that, like to wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing like how all that works and also just seeing how big it's taken off because I think that I when I first saw like stuff on social media that athletes and people like that were doing it, I'm like, oh, that's cool, but like everyday people wouldn't do that. Like that's just like tough and disciplined. But no, a lot of everyday people now are adopting it, and I'm seeing it online. So it's like pretty incredible that it's like becoming a thing that people are doing. And supposedly too, I heard the big deal with it, like other than like health benefits, is people like that it like motivates you to they like that it motivates you to be disciplined and do something you don't want to do every day. Because like if you just get in this like route of comfort in life, you don't feel like as satisfied as if you force yourself to do something you don't want to do, like a cold plunge like that. And then they say when you're done with like the ice bath or whatever, or cold plunge, you feel amazing because you just like overcame something, I guess. It has like that achievement type of feel. So it's like really good for your mentality. So yeah, I mean it's really interesting how many aspects it's like how popular it's getting and how many aspects it affects of life. But yeah, that's just kind of like talking about the canoe water, like really reminded me of that. But yeah, I'll tell you about oh, this is a hysterical story. So this was a cabin camping story. We went on a cabin camping trip. It was off a huge lake, but it was January, so it was freezing. But we still, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like if I could sleep somewhere warm, I don't mind like being outdoor and hiking and stuff during the winter. So we were having a blast. We were hiking, watching the sunset over this giant lake. It was just chilling, man. It was a good. We saw like a nature center that had a bunch of birds and rescue animals, and we saw an actual like dam that a beaver built. So it was a really cool trip. But along the trip, we decided to go out to lunch. And in this place we were at, there were two places to eat in town, and I'm pretty sure one of which was a gas station. So we went to this restaurant. It's this little like restaurant right on the side of a highway exit, like only restaurant for like miles. And this thing had a burger that was like a pound of meat. It was like a pound of ground beef, lettuce, cheese, everything on it. And they literally, what they did was they took 4 quarter-pound burgers and just stacked them on top of each other. And
Wow.
so me and like 3 other people, we were like, dude, we gotta get this burger. And we were like, you gotta eat it and see who can finish it fastest. And we'll get the burger and fries, and everyone has to eat their pound meat burger and their fries. And whoever eats it first will chip in like $5 a person, and they can win some money. So we had like this $5 wager going on to see who could finish this burger first. And dude, it was worth it, even though it was really rough afternoon. Cause basically we chomped
Yeah.
down the burgers and we're like feeling full as hell, and the fries. And I think the latest person to finish, I think I was like third place of 4 people. And I think the last person finished in like 10 minutes. So it wasn't like, I mean, it was like pretty good amount of time. But the waitress comes over to our table and she sees like after 10 minutes we're all finished with our burgers and fries. And she's like, "You guys are going to be feeling it after." And I was like, "Oh man." And she was right.
Yeah.
The whole afternoon we're hiking around, and man, I felt like I needed the bathroom bad. And we
You're
go to
like,
we go to a nature center, and the 3 of us are just like holding it in. Like we feel like shit. Our stomachs hurt. And this lady at the nature center is talking to us about birds. And she's talking as long and drawn out as she can. And there are like these 2 girls who are really interested in these birds and kept asking questions. And us 4 guys were like, we need
yeah.
to get back to the cabin. Like, it's gonna be ugly if we did not get back to this cabin soon. And these girls are going off about birds. They're going on and on and on. And we're just like, oh my God, like, enough about birds. We need to get back. SOS. So we all
It
four,
must
like,
have.
we're
Oh, I was just gonna say, it must have felt like you had like a baby like inside you, like in your stomach. Dang.
yeah, it hurt, man. It hurt.
Wow.
It was like max capacity. Like, you're not supposed to do this to
I
your body.
I bet I bet some people like listening would be like, "Yeah, that's nothing. You're a wimp." Like listening, like a pound easy. I bet you there's someone out there that would think that.
Oh, definitely. Some people eat that like for lunch, but like
Yeah.
I'm not that big of a guy, and I don't burn off calories like a lot of the people that do that do, and I don't weigh that. I'm not a big guy at all, so it's like for
Did
me
the
that was one and done.
Yeah.
And
Did the, biggest guy win?
he
Like, who
actually did,
won?
yeah. The kid who won was
Okay,
pretty. He
that
was
makes
he was
sense.
a boxer. He was like, I mean, he was a
Oh,
really
wow.
built and in shape guy. He won,
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, and I expected him to win, but yeah, he won. But yeah, but I think for me too, it was just like the fries, like fried food and like food, it's like food that's gonna give you a heart attack. The burgers were crispy and
Yeah.
like and greasy and like just all that grease and the shit in that food. I was like, oh. But anyways, yeah, that happened and we got back from the birdhouse and the four of us took turns in and out of the bathroom. But
Oh my no, dang.
yeah, I feel
Wait,
bad.
was it one of those toilets that had, like, plumbing and stuff?
Yeah, they had plumbing there, yeah.
Okay, good. I think that's the worst thing about camping is when you have, like if there's, like, a you're lucky to have, like, an outhouse, but it's just, like, nothing but a pit. It's just it smells so bad. I hate those things.
Yeah, I hate because there's always, like, bugs, like, mad bugs inside there, and I'm like, "Oh, this is gross." But
Yeah.
then, like yeah, I know I remember you, MZ, we were the first time we were camping, you were taking your shovel, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm digging a hole, I'm not using that."
Yeah. No, I was able to hold it in, but, I mean, I would've used the outhouse, but yeah, that's just annoying.
Yeah, it's just gross, like, there and even, like I'll give it to them. The campsite we were at maintained it really well and had stuff pretty clean, but you can't
Yeah, it was
control
pretty
that
good.
bugs are in there all day, in and out.
The Yeah, the nice thing was it's like they had, like, the Roman, like, technology of, like, having, like, a stream to, like, push stuff down, so it wasn't, like, all, like, gathered in one spot, which was kinda nice. So, yeah, that was, like, a nice one for not being, like, a plumbing or anything, but yeah.
I was fortunate enough last summer to be camping in an actual camper. It's this big camper, had like two bedrooms, a bathroom, and I'd never been like camper camping. Like I'd been cabin camping and tent camping, but campers are it was pretty fun because they like fit all kinds of little like features in there, and it was really like interesting to see like how a camper camping works and how you oh wow like that folds up to a huge storage area. Like it was pretty cool to see like how they make campers super livable. So that was fun experience also. And the fact that you could just go outside and chill by the fire, but then have a nice like air conditioned indoors area was really cool about like camper camping. So that was also a fun experience. And I would
So you're
honestly get a camper.
yeah, you're saying camper camping. Well, that sounds like glamping to me.
It kind of is, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like it really is. I had a
I don't know.
coworker. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know. I feel like if people consider glamping as like proper camping, then like I just can't agree with them. Like that's just kind of weird in my opinion. If like obviously it's like a fun activity, but like some people legit think like glamping is camping. Like that's like the same experience as like regular camping, which just blows my mind. And it's like so obvious. Like that would be like a city like boy right there, like a city person.
Yeah. Yeah, nice little hot take there. Yeah, I had a
Yep.
coworker who would always talk about, I'm camping this weekend, I'm camping this weekend. And it seemed like every weekend he was camping. And in my mind, like when you say you're camping, I imagine you're like tent camping. Oh no,
As it should be.
he meant he was taking his camper, which I later found out. Which made a lot of sense because I'm like, dang, how do you like you sleep in a tent every single weekend? Now he just goes to like a campground that has like a bunch of fun stuff to do and like takes his camper and his kids and wife and just does his thing. But that it threw me off at first because I'm like, dang, that's a big commitment to be like, packing up and hiking out every weekend, when you have a job during the week. So that was threw me off. But yeah, then it made sense. It made sense after he explained the whole camper situation.
One event that happened while I was camping it was to do with the weather. It was a nasty thunderstorm. It was kind of late. It was probably like between 11 to 12. I don't quite remember, but it was raining hard, storming. But the crazy thing about it is like for anyone who's camped in like weather like that, it's just a different experience hearing the thunder, like, when you're laying on the ground in a tent, you're just, like, 2 inches away from the dirt, just having that thin sheet of tent under you. Yeah, so it's like, with the flashing lights, it's so bright. I remember it was like we were in, like, the heart of the storm pretty much, but it was so bright, I would put my face, like, head down into the pillow, and I could, like and close my eyes, and I could still see, like, the flash, like, pretty bright. Like, it was still, like, white, just bright. Like, that's how, like, bright it was. But, yeah, it was like and then it was, like, thundering, and it was just, like, rumbling the whole ground, and I was, like, a kid too, so I was, like, kinda scared a little bit. But, yeah, that was, like, the power of nature, I guess. But, also, it was, like, at the, Cub Scout camp. So, there was, like, a water tower maybe half a mile to a mile away or something, and then, like, the following day when we got up, it was, like, actually struck. So, yeah, it got struck by lightning.
No way.
Yeah.
It got That's insane. Dude, that must have been a hell
Yeah.
of a storm, and, like,
It
wow,
was
that
yeah,
is
like I s
really wow. That's quite an experience there. I could not imagine, like, being in a tent with that kinda, like, stormy weather. Like, that would feel really, like, uneasy, you know? Really tough.
yeah, like I said, we were, like, in the middle of it, so, yeah, it was just, like, super powerful.
Dude, that is
But
wild.
still good memories, all these, accounts we've had, all even if it wasn't, like, the most pleasant looking back, it's always, like, a great experience still to have.
Oh, yeah, it's like feeling that achievement of, like, "I got past the storm." That's how camping is. It
Yeah.
makes you feel like you've achieved something just by going out and doing it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a good time, and I mean, I'd advise anyone who hasn't tried it to try it. It definitely, like you have to kinda not be afraid of dirt and to go out and do that stuff. I will say it takes a special like type of person who's interested in camping things. But if you're someone who's on the line, like maybe I'll try it, maybe I'll not. I say just give it a try. See how you like it.
Yeah, especially, like, if you got, like, some friends or buddies, even family, whatever, just, like it makes it a lot better when you have people as well to do it. But, yeah, I
Oh yeah,
totally
for
agree.
sure.
Real camping, of course, not glamping. That doesn't count.
Oh man, that's cool though. But yeah, we just want to thank you guys so much for like tuning in again today. It's really great to share some stories with you guys. Hopefully, you found this entertaining. Thanks again for your support and for listening. And I think we're going to sign off for the day. We'll see you in the next episode.